can't forget about what we're doing. We don't know what happens in the end. But I do know one thing. We'll keep on taking down Scientology every motherfucking day that we can. Hi, guys. Welcome to LFM TV on YouTube. And look at this. We have a whole new fun little cute setup I have together. Thank you so much for the kind, sweet person, you know who you are, who made me this amazing gift. And to your wife, I hope she is doing amazing. And that if you guys need another bowl of soup and salad that I get a drop off that you just happen to love, that'll help her make her feel delightful, please let me know. Thank you very much. But I'm loving this sign, guys. And I love this whole little new setup. It's actually a lot easier for me to like do things. I don't have like a wobbly sign coming, you know, the cats might jump off, you know, everything's pretty solid and permanent. So I feel much better. Okay. On that note, thank you all for being here. I see you guys all in the chat. Look, I did a pretty good job making it on time. I did 5:55, even though I did in the description say 6 p.m. So I think that's a new little fun thing that I can do. I go, haha, I'm going live at this time. And then 5 minutes later, okay, I'm on time. Lara Standard Time. Okay, so today, guys, we're talking about FBI reporting and Scientology abuses. We're talking about never, first of all, did we ever hear that we were able to report things to the FBI until maybe a few years ago. And I know that people did report things. Friends of mine did report things to the FBI. I know some of my friends went to the FBI building. And so there's a lot that has happened and things that have changed and new things that have come up that this is super important. I have somebody who will be joining me, Mona. We call her Fat Grammy because she's an amazing, it should really be PHAT, Fat Grammy, because she's badass and she's literally so helpful and amazing. Please help me welcome Mona. Most of you know Mona, but for those of you watching on the replay, you'll get to know her. She's super helpful, a big, strong, very helpful, smart, intelligent, knowledgeful human being that is very supportive of people in this community and children and the kids that left this cult. And we've all had some crazy ups and downs with emotional healings and traumas. And even through all the protesting we've all been doing, there's been so much attached to it, so much feeling, so much everything. And I do know that Mona has gone through her own bundles of dealing with people and emotions. And you're just such a, like literally such a solid, some like in this community, I want people to know that they can rely on you. You're completely open. You can talk to them about anything. If any feelings were hurt or borderline, anything was crossed, you're somebody that can accept, hear communication. You can feel when somebody's upset and you tend to respond not in the typical way that most human beings, I also myself working on it, would tend to respond. So she's very much somebody who's smart, who's reliable, is understanding of children.
Stop.
This is, I have to say this so that my friends that are under the radar that are watching know that you're super safe and that I'm not just, you are amazing in the community, already knows that, but I want people in the future on the replay that I send this to, like, hey, please watch this live stream. I want them to know that that you are a safe person to contact in any way, like, and whatever that may be, they would know how to get a hold of you, and that you are very smart with your words and you're smart with your intentions and where you're going. And that's why I'm saying that. But
thank you. I respect that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought, my head's just gonna blow. It's getting bigger. It's like poof, you know.
Oh, there's many a times where I'm like, whew, okay, the brain needs to relax. I can feel it literally getting inflamed. So yeah. So this is so good. And I know this is a hard subject for people that were born and raised in Scientology, but specifically in the Sea Org. And not specifically just that they were underage, but that they had been put in a situation for at any amount of time, for any amount of time, whether that
Mhm.
included labor abuse, whatever that may be, food neglect, whatever kind of abuse that is, it's hard for people to even separate what that means. And even for people to confront, I don't know another word, but even for ex Scientology kids to be able to hear, Mona, what we're even going to be talking about. Like
I
for them,
agree.
like, well, why do I need to go to the FBI? I mean, God, I don't want to get my mom in trouble. That's what people who still care about their parents that are in the Sea Org currently or in Scientology, that's the fear. And I want to be able to let people know they don't even have to get to know me, that they can privately, and you'll see how Mona is going to explain everything, but how they can privately make their own report and why their report is so important and what these abuses actually consist of, so that they're aware, oh,
Mhm.
that abuse, oh, so yeah, that kind of vibe.
Right.
People,
Well, I mean, for those that don't know me, hello to everybody that does know me and people that come into my morning sunshine's just a fabulous, fabulous crew. But I started working on this after listening to Serge's story and your story, Liz and Liz, Amber and Nora and Dylan, and I can go on and on and on, and Aaron and Jenna and everybody that's involved in all of these stories are just so important, and it's so heartbreaking. And a little while after being in the community, I thought, I'm pretty good at advocacy, and I know some of this stuff. I know some things. I know a guy. I can bring some information in and maybe make a difference. And I want to see people get justice that they deserve, no matter how that justice looks. To some people, telling their story for the first time or
correct.
telling what happened to them for the first time. To another person, justice could be a flat ass lawsuit that rips off billions of dollars from them. Or it could be David Miscavige going to jail. I mean, justice looks different for different people. And you deserve justice for the crimes that have been committed against you. And I know a lot of people think, well, I didn't have crimes committed against me. I was just raised this way. This is what happened. And let's take Liz Gale's receipts, the one where you all did the protest around the Celebrity Center
Yeah.
with that big long list of kids that grew up in Scientology. Do you know 22% of those kids on that list are no longer with us? That's staggering. 22% are no longer with us on this earth.
And I
When
don't know, that's just with that list. I know there's a lot more people that we don't even know about. We have no idea. So that list, we have to give it more for the people that aren't even talked about.
exactly,
That aren't
exactly.
here, that aren't here with us. They're either not here with us anymore or they're stuck in the Sea Org still because they were
Yeah,
once a child in the Sea Org and they don't know how to get out of that mentally. When you have been brainwashed
mentally,
for so long,
right,
everybody deserves to get out. Everybody has a right to be able to want to leave. If they want to leave the Sea Org, they shouldn't have to feel guilty for that. And that right there is abuse. That's what Mona and
that's
we're
abuse.
going to be talking about later. We might have Audit LA pop in and also join us, but that's like people, a lot of Mona, a lot of people that you're talking to now that are going to watch this in the future don't realize that things like that, even that feeling of not being able to leave an organization on your own free will and feeling that
Mhm.
you have to get approval and that you have to do a routing form and that you have to get interrogated by elderly men and like purposely so that you do say your crimes and you feel scared and you don't want to leave. Like sometimes people feel so scared they don't want to leave because they don't even want to give off their private intimate crimes.
Right.
So I'm letting
Well,
people know that it's if you there's many links we're going to be sharing and things like that, and I feel that you're going to be able to learn, please learn, guys. not for the chat, but for the people that we are all talking to, please, and for the chat, for everybody, because it all teaches us. But please learn, follow these links, go and just read, and they're not too hard. We'll even go through some of them. I'm going to let you lead this.
Okay.
And I'm going to
So
be learning as well.
Looking at that list from Liz Gale, I had to separate myself. Ooh, dog hairs. Squirrel. I had to separate myself from the emotional part to the facts. And the facts is I took that list and I downloaded it into a spreadsheet, and name by name, I took everybody on that list and I started looking up stories. I'm going to use you for an example. Okay. Lara Anderson. And I listed out all the crimes that you've told publicly that have happened to you. Now, you don't say them as crimes. You say, I was digging trenches. I was taken to a labor camp, blah, blah, blah. I was, separated from my family. And through your story, you're actually telling crimes that happened to you. So I started listing out the crimes: sexual assault, sexual abuse, child abuse, emotional abuse, uh, child labor, obsolescence of care,
child neglect.
Child neglect.
A lot. That's a hard one for kids leaving with parents like that to accept, that even major neglect, like they did to us constantly, not being there,
is abuse.
Is major abuse. Yeah.
So unlawful detention, false imprisonment.
Can I also say, would you agree with me, and maybe this will be hard for, again, some of the listeners, but would you agree that being forced to be in an auditing session, doors locked, is abuse?
That's unlawful detention.
Okay. I want the world to know.
Obsolescence of care. Do you know what that crime means? That crime is that somebody was responsible for taking care of you because your parents were gone, and they were obsolete of their duty of care to you.
Yeah.
That's a crime.
And that it would fall under neglect in my mind. Like, yes, this was a moment I wish that my mom was here, and I had just thought, oh, well, she's just busy. So
yeah. So there are so many crimes that are facts that I went through on almost every single one of you. Okay, I'm going to lie, because I got about halfway through and it started hurting my heart so bad I had to stop. Because there are a lot of crimes against you guys growing up as children. Just flat out, there is. So I started going through those crimes and I thought, well, why isn't this reported? And I see that, yeah, there is a lot of reporting happening. There are a lot of stories that are being told. There are a lot of facts that are being given out. But I want you to know that even if you have reported to the FBI in the past, I don't think society was ready to hear this at first. Way back when, and way back when is really only 20, 30 years, but when I was a little girl, stuff like this didn't happen. You didn't hear about it. And if you did, it was conspiracy theory. And it was just those on a Phil Donahue show talking about satanic ritual abuse or something. It just didn't happen, right? Not in normal society. And it's taken all of these years for Larry Nassar, Epstein, for the two people families, for the Catholic abuse, for the Mormon abuse, now for P. Diddy, and now for this claim we're going to talk about tonight to come through, that people are actually going, wow, all of those protests, all of those people saying there was child abuse, all of the time Serge has said, I've been locked in a hotel, all of this sexual abuse that's going on, that it's finally hitting people, and people are going, yeah, this really has been happening. Our bad. We're sorry.
I would even say that Serge has made it some people would say it's hard for, like, it was hard to hear his story and how he does it, but there's ways where, like, if he hadn't done it, if he doesn't do it the way he did, if we don't do it the way our fingerprint or how we feel we need to say it, there's a lot of people that would never have woken up to hear what is he saying? Is he really calling it this? Is it this? And then they start to go,
Yeah.
okay, this is really what's happening. Like,
Yeah.
and it takes a lot of people that were involved in it as children and adults that are out, that are even fighting Scientology, to realize, hey, there's a lot that we all participated in, because that was the reason for Scientology to be able to work and
Right.
function, is that everybody would be an accessory to the crime.
Right. But as a non-Scientology community population, the standard society, you didn't know about those things. And
Mhm.
if you heard your story or Serge's story back before I was in this community and knew you guys and heard from you guys, it was incredulous. It was almost unbelievable, because things like that just don't happen in the US. Maybe Rwanda, maybe in the Holocaust, maybe in South America or Mexico, but certainly not in the US. Stuff like that doesn't happen. But now, with so much more information coming out, like with Epstein and with P. Diddy and stuff like that, it's become to where people are like, yeah, I guess this has been happening.
Right.
This, you know?
There's a lot of there's a lot of things that I've learned. You know what? There was a lot of things that I learned during the Danny Masterson trial, where I realized this guy put on a whole persona around the people he was friends with and the people that
Yeah,
he brought in, including myself. So there was this whole, like, trained, and same with the whole Diddy trial, this whole thing, there's this whole trained, where this group agreement, it's okay, and oh well, something must be right, I gotta be friends with this guy, I gotta stay friends. He couldn't be doing that.
right,
And
right.
so
It's
part of
sad.
it is that people are starting to like, starting to unprogram themselves from BS lies that even Scientology was putting out to make it not as bad as it actually is.
Right. Total cover up. So last year, Miriam Francis had told me about the UNOI case, the United Nation of Islam, which is a sect of the Nation of Islam. And the Nation of Islam, of course, is part of Scientology. We know that.
Hmm.
But the United Nation of Islam was an offshoot group of it. And let me read you, this is the federal definition of what forced labor is. So, forced labor, sometimes also referred to as labor trafficking, encompasses the range of activities involved when a person uses force, fraud, or coercion to exploit the laborer's services of another person. The term forced child labor describes forced labor schemes in which traffickers compel, remember that word, compel, children to work. Traffickers often target children because they are more vulnerable. Although some children may legally engage in certain forms of work, forcing or coercing children to work remains and is illegal. Some indicators of forced labor of a child include situations in which the child appears to be in the custody, excuse me, of a non-family member, and the child's work financially benefits someone outside the child's family, or the denial of food, rest, or schooling to a child who is working.
This 100% happened to every single person, let
Mm,
alone minors, underage
mm.
children, in the cult of Scientology, in the Sea
So
organization.
that is the federal definition of forced labor, human trafficking.
And that
Human
is a
trafficking,
crime. That's one of the crimes that you would be saying, all right, I whatever it was for me, I was building rock walls. A lot of the work I was doing and being trained, even for later when I went to Clearwater and had to do all the work I did there in Clearwater. All of that is all labor. It's all whatever you just said, being told. Can we read that again, actually, just so that people hear, like, not having your parents there, you know, that's a thing. Being told to do this work by somebody that's not a family member, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Can we read that again? Sorry.
The whole thing or just that last part?
Just the, or I don't know. I liked reading the whole definition because that's the main, that's a big one there.
Okay, and I'm just going to use the child. The term forced child labor describes forced labor schemes in which traffickers compel children to work, and compel does not mean coerce or force. Children is just to compel. Traffickers often target children because they are more vulnerable, although some children may be legally engaged in certain forms of work that's over the age of 14, forcing or coercing children to work is illegal. Some indicators of forced labor of a child include situations in which the child appears to be in the custody of a non-family member, flag, and the child's work financially benefits someone outside the child's family, or the denial of food, rest, or schooling to the child who is working. That is 100% a crime. So using those definitions, there were a few people that reported to the FBI from the United Nations of Islam. And this is going to take just a little bit. If you want to go ahead and bring it up, I'm going to read it. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll read most of it.
This is
It's
this one, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I have to physically print things because I'm crazy. I'm like, I can't digitally do all this or I'm going to end the stream accidentally. But yes, I'm going to, let me see. Hold on one second.
Okay, you do what you need to do.
Okay, let me, oh wait, here we go. I have it right here. I lied. I'm kidding. I am ready. I did pull it up. I am getting better at this, guide. Okay, let me try this. Presents. And it'll be great anyways when you read it because people can read. I just like that. Visually, I'm a visual while I, okay,
I've got
share
it
screen.
listed on mine, so I don't have to see it. You just do what you need to do for others to see it. And there are links to these on my stream, and I can put them to where you can put them on yours too.
Oh, whoops, that's my email. Haha. Okay, so what about, oh, I wonder if I have to, let me open, sorry. What did you just say, Mona? Sorry.
I said we can put links so people can read it for themselves. I've got them already linked on my site, on my stream.
Okay. Yeah, and well, that's what we're gonna do. I have all that ready too, and I also print. I'm so funny. I like literally print it off. You're like, these are the steps you have to do. So this is all on Mona's YouTube. We'll talk about that, but like each where you do the report, where you can read what we're about to read right now to you. Okay, let me also see. Mona, will you tell me if you can see this? Because it might go into another screen and I won't be able to.
I sure will.
Okay, present and share screen. Do you see this right now?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. There we go. I did
Perfect.
it. Okay,
Perfect,
and
perfect.
then I can also go like this. In chat, are you guys able to read that easily if she's reading it and I kind of just scroll like this?
I'm going to read it and they can follow along and then they can print it off for themselves.
Okay.
So this comes out of the Department of Justice's website. This is a case that's already been investigated, claimed, investigated, litigated, and is a done deal. This is they're talking about the conviction. So
and look at the date here, guys.
This is October 24.
September 16th, exactly.
Yeah, this is like
this is a couple months ago. This is super important.
This is not far away. This is just now, you guys. So that's why this is so important, is because let me read this and then we're going to talk about the importance of it. Okay. 6 members of the former cult convicted of forced labor, per those definitions that I gave you, conspiracy charges in years-long scheme that included multiple minors. So all of these claims were not just minors. There were adults in
Okay, this
this.
is super important, guys. Did you hear that? For any ex-Scientologists or ex-Hearing members, this isn't just about minors and children, which obviously it's one of our main focuses, but this is about any abuse, right?
Forced labor.
Forced labor. There you go. Okay.
Yep.
Want to be clear about that.
So I'm not going to read all the names because, frankly, I can't read all those names. Following a 26-day trial, a jury in Kansas convicted these people of conspiracy to commit forced labor. The jury additionally convicted the head and two other co-defendants previously pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit forced labor. According to the evidence presented in court during the course of the trial, the defendants were all former high-ranking members of the United Nation of Islam, UNOI, or were the wives to the founder, Royal Jenkins. And Royal Jenkins was the offshoot of Nation of Islam. The UNOI and these defendants held themselves out as a beacon of hope for the community, promising to educate and teach important life skills to the members, particularly children, said Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clark of the Civil Rights Division. Instead, the defendants betrayed this trust, exploiting young children in the organization by callously compelling their labor. Prosecuting this case is a testament to the Justice Department's unwavering commitment to hold human traffickers accountable. The Justice Department will continue to vigorously investigate and prosecute parasitic criminals who target vulnerable victims to finance their lifestyles. Miss Scavage.
Yeah.
The bravery shown by victims of the UNOI is inspiring because they spoke up about the heinous atrocities committed against them as vulnerable children, said Katie E. Brubacher for the District of Kansas. In childhood, they suffered physical and emotional abuse, were denied a proper education, and were subject to forced labor. As adults, these victims found the strength and courage to pursue justice and face their abusers. That's what they will think of you guys. That's what they're going to think of you.
Yeah, that's a very good point. This is so crazy. Like, because I've been going in and out of the courts for all kinds of court cases, fake court cases that Scientology's been throwing at the protesters, Josiah, Scott, all of like everybody that's gone to court, even the whole streets thing with the whole trying to throw all these, outside the testing center trying to throw all these like fee charges on him. It's just like everybody, like, this is why, because this is the stuff that they don't want being shown in court. They don't want our stories being spoke about because a judge or somebody hearing these kinds of things will be like, and where were your parents? They will put two and two together. They'll say, where were your parents? Okay, your parents were 2 hours away or 5 states away or in a different country, etc. And they're going to put this together and go, yes, this literally fits the description of a trafficking child. Yeah, anyways, so this is so important. And this just happened not even 6, 7, 8 months ago.
Yeah. So under the guise of false pretenses and coercion, these victims, some of whom were as young as 8 years old, endured inhumane and aberrant conditions, said the agent in charge, Stephen Cyrus of the FBI Kansas City field office. Today's conviction should serve as a stark warning that forced labor will not be tolerated by the FBI. So UNOI principles included many rules that the members had to follow. They required duty or unpaid labor and emphasized the negative eternal religious consequences of noncompliance. UNOI operated businesses in various cities around the United States: Kansas City, New York, Newark, Cincinnati, Dayton, and Atlanta, among other locations. In their former leadership roles, the defendants agreed to compel the labor and services of over a dozen victims. That's not a lot, only a dozen.
Wow.
That's not a lot.
And there's a lot more than that in Scientology.
Including multiple minors, some of whom were as young as 8 years old, between October 2000 and when this started in 2012. Actually, it started later than that, but this is the time frame that they're talking about. 2000 is important because we're going to talk about TVPA, which is the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, started in 2000. That's when it was passed in Congress.
Which is
So,
also why you made the point that you do know that some people in the past have reported this to the FBI and things like this, but this is now a whole brand new law that like a justice like loop, like not like, you know, in a belt where they boom and they finally get to the next. This is like an actual like if you guys are listening to this, you're literally going, okay, this is very Sea Org. This is how Scientology works and runs. And this is a case that just got beat.
yep. And so this is if you were in the Sea Org
From 2000, right?
2000, you're qualified. This is you.
And can I ask you just so I also I'm learning as well, guys. So I'm allowed to jump
Yep.
in whenever the F I want because I'm Lara fucking FM. But I have a question. That was one of my questions. Does this apply to anywhere in the United States?
Yes.
Okay. Does it apply to
This
anywhere else
applies
outside the
to
country?
this applies to anyone that's living outside. Miriam and I have talked about this before on a live, so I know she's public. This
Okay.
applies to Miriam. She was in the United States as slave labor. She may be
So it's
living
any
over there now,
right. So
but
it's
this
anything.
happened in
Right. So
the United
anything in
States.
the right now, we're just covering the United States and any work, even if you're now in Germany or you're in, you know, I definitely know there's other people that SP Chef.
Right.
I have a question. So there was people that came. What if they came from another country just for a certain amount of time and then they went back, like because they were in the staff in the Church of Scientology under like that visa sort of passport, and then they went back. Does that still like would that mean like if the same thing if I went to another country and somebody committed a crime on me, I could still report it in that country just as much as
Correct.
they would here in America? Okay, very cool.
Correct.
So
And to
people
be real honest, first of all, I'm not a lawyer. Second of all, I'm not an FBI agent. And so
are you
if
sure?
well, we don't know.
People
CIA
think
doesn't.
I'm an FBI agent. I'm like, they can't have me.
So there's the three ways, and we're going to go through this. There's different ways to report. If you can call or do it on a website, what are they going to do? Say no? Okay, so if you report and they go, you don't apply, well, okay, it doesn't apply. But at least you tried.
And not
What all they're
only
going to
that,
do
I
is say
think it
no.
would be very eye-opening and on the record. This is a very important thing, guys. They're going to have to give you a case number or they will say, hey, thank you for your report. They're going to give you some sort of response, which is better than anything we've literally ever had. But
Yeah,
if there's something that they can't specifically help you with, you still have it on the record. And if they have thousands, hundreds of reports like that on the record, they're going to have to do something about that.
exactly. Okay, so let me finish the story and then
Okay.
we'll do more. So the victims worked in, I know you guys don't like the word victims, but law enforcement calls it victims. They worked in the UNOI owned and operated restaurants, bakeries, gas stations, clothing and sewing factory, up to 16 hours a day. They also provided childcare and domestic services, hotel stuff, inside the defendants' homes. None of the victims were ever compensated for the years of work they performed at the businesses or at the behest of the defendants. The victims all lived in deplorable conditions in overcrowded facilities, often overrun with mold, mice, and rats. In contrast, the defendants and their immediate families lived comfortably. The evidence presented in court demonstrated that the defendants used a variety of coercive tactics to compel the victims' labor and services.
Can
In
we
essence, the
can we explain compel there because that's a key word.
compel means talk into.
Okay, well,
It's as simple as
I
talk
feel like this
into.
is, I know, but I feel that this is, I'm going to look it up really quick.
Go
Sorry.
ahead.
Compel definition. because that I feel is a legal thing to understand what that definition, the verb form of this is force or oblige. Force or oblige. I oblige you. I order you, because that's the standard in Scientology, the Sea Org. I order you to do this.
Okay.
I'm your senior. You better don't, it's literally always, that's an order. No more backflash. It's like, you are not allowed to backflash. You're not allowed to not do the order. So compel means if this has happened to you, you have felt that you have been compelled, meaning forced or oblige someone to do something. That's literally.
Okay. Thank you.
Or bring about something by the use of force or pressure. Okay, that's all.
Yeah. I kind of thought pressure was more on compel, and then the force was a different.
No,
An
all the
even
words. I
higher
want
level. Yeah.
I want them to hear, whoever's listening. I
Yeah.
just have friends that loved me and I haven't heard from them since I've been protesting. Obviously, I know that they're still like connected to their families in the Sea Org.
Yeah.
Probably they don't care. Maybe they think Scientology sucks. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, but listen to what we're saying. Like compel
Right.
means if you were ordered or told to do something, whether you wanted to do it or not, you were told to do it, you had to do it.
Right.
Okay.
So the variety of coercive tactics to compel the victim's labor and services, in essence, the defendants effectively controlled the victims by manipulating the rules originally created by the founder.
We want to replace that with the Scientology rules originally created by
Yeah,
the
I know,
founder.
but I mean, isn't this like you could just replace
It's
UNOI with Scientology in almost every single one of these things?
yeah,
Yeah. So
I've been kind of
first,
doing that.
the defendants separated the minor victims from their parents and support network. They enticed the parents to send their children to Kansas by promising an education and developmental of life skills through work at the operated businesses. However, these promises were false. The minors did not receive an education from an accredited and licensed school, but instead worked excessive hours for UNOI's financial benefit. The unlicensed and unaccredited school, or quote unquote university, was little more than a vehicle for extracting unpaid labor and publicly humiliating victims who violated one of their many rules. I mean, again, this is just like
Scientology.
so parallel.
Yeah.
Second, the defendants controlled one, what the victims viewed and read, two, how the victims dressed, three, how the victims addressed the defendants and others, sir, madam, sir. Four, with whom the victims communicated. Five, where the victims went. And six, what the victims ate, to ensure that the victims, particularly the females, maintained a certain weight. Poor Nora at the Celebrity Center. The defendants restricted and monitored the victims' communications with their families.
It was Mona. It was everywhere. Even at the cadet org, there was a girl, Trisha Norton. She was like bigger and a little overweight, and constantly they were like telling her, "This is your problem," like always putting that on her. She ended up being a security guard. They put her as a security guard at the Flag Land Base, literally after being shipped off from the ranch. So they kept her in that. Anyways, it just reminded me of that. It's not just Nora, but yeah, Nora knows exactly what I'm talking about.
I know. I had heard it from her. So.
I know. No, that's cute. And I love your mind. I'm also like, it's everywhere. Ugh, sounds literally like Scientology and the Sea Org.
I know. The defendants restricted and monitored the victims' communications with their families, members of the opposite sex, and others. Okay, and this is the only difference, but you can replace Purif with this. The defendants required some victims to undergo colonics, which is a procedure designed to cleanse the colon by streaming gallons of water, blah, blah, blah. And basically, it's to cleanse the body. Same thing as purification.
Okay. It's almost like an enema, but that's weird. Okay.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay.
So,
but yeah, the purification and whatever, sweating. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just a different method. Third, the defendants regularly punished the victims for violating the rules. The defendants withheld food, prohibited victims from speaking to others for over 2 weeks, locked them in a dark, frightening basement, imposed extra work, and beat them, sometimes in front of others to create a climate of fear and intimidation.
David Miscavige.
The defendants even held one victim upside down over train tracks because he would not admit to stealing food when he was hungry. Another victim drank water from a toilet because she was so thirsty after not being permitted to drink. Finally, the defendants instilled a fear of noncompliance in leaving the UNOI by depriving victims of any education or development of life skills. The defendants also told victims that they would burn in eternal hellfire if they left. Family members who remained at UNOI were required to shun as detractors any victim who left, and UNOI claimed credit for any negative consequences that occurred to the members who left the organization. So that's all the good news. The bad news, the good news is that they were convicted in October, and there was a sentence hearing in February, and that happened. And so, what isn't Scientology out of reading that? This
Right.
is precedence for an FBI claim for all of you that were in the Sea Org. Now, okay, yes, the Sea Org had arbitration clauses and contracts that you signed, but these are crimes. Crimes cannot be arbitrated. There's no arbitration in criminal. None.
And that's super important.
Bless
Thank you.
you.
And that's super important because, as we know, even Valerie Haney, one of my best friends, is going through arbitration through Scientology, and they try to use that all the time to turn court cases from, criminal, from bringing Scientology in as a criminal or bringing individuals in, Dave Miscavige, Gavin Potter, etc. From that literally this is where they're able to just change it and go, oh, we'll fix it with Scientology arbitration. And I feel like I would be the strongest, loudest lawyer if I could when it comes to that, because I would demand that they prove that they are that they're religious and that they have some already set up arbitration. So that's a big thing that they like to do. And so this is actually perfect because this is criminal, which means, like you said, Mona, this took me a while to realize. I didn't actually hear, like, I heard what you said, but it didn't soak in. It's not negotiable. It's not like, oh, maybe Scientology is going to even have the ability to question, oh, is this going to go to arbitration where somebody's going to be freaking victimized and abused by the people that were structurally like controlled to abuse them. That's literally what's happening in Valerie Haney's case right now. But so this is a way that the FBI can take action internally against Scientology and all the people that David Miscavige are accountable. They're responsible for this behavior.
Right. So those labor contracts and the arbitration agreements are negated. They do not pertain to criminal activity. You cannot arbitrate crime.
Criminal. That's so
Criminal.
cool. That's so relieving to know.
And to know that, like Valerie Haney's case and other cases, the Baxter Gawain and Valerie Haney and all the other ones, those are civil cases. Civil cases are different. Civil cases are somebody did you wrong and you want to get back and you want a chunk of money or you want some change. Criminal cases are prosecuted by the state or the federal because the crimes were committed, a law was broken. So that's the difference. Somebody's going to jail over this. Put it that way.
I'd like to figure out who they're gonna, because remember, L. Ron Hubbard did this, and Dave Miscavige did this. If you read the expert witness, you're gonna see there's so many Moxon found you again, fucking with the law.
That's right.
God, there's so many things that are coming up about Kendrick Moxon, the Scientology fraud lawyer. They're all frauds, but this one, Kendrick Moxon specifically, I believe has signed some sort of Sea Org contract. I believe he has signed. I do believe that he's not just a regular chill public. I think he has to have his own song. But just like Tom Cruise has joined the Sea Org. He officially was like considered a Sea Org member. So I definitely feel Moxon has that same thing. So Moxon knows more about these Moxon knows all this.
He knows where all the bodies are buried.
Same with a bunch of people that are in there. So this bless you.
So another thing that I see a comment here about religions cannot commit crimes. Crimes are crimes. That is true. And there was a Supreme Court decision. It's a long time ago, like back in the 59, 60, and it's held ever since. And it's Prince versus Massachusetts. And basically, the Supreme Court of the United States said you can't cloak crime behind a religion. Done. Over.
Done.
That's you can't do it, which we know that Scientology does day in and day out. But that's a law.
That's an amazing
law.
law to know. That's a Supreme Court law.
Prince versus Massachusetts. You cannot cloak. If you have two different things for the First Amendment, the right of religion and the right of free speech, the right of the human rights, civil rights, religion does not supersede that. Straight from the horse's mouth. So
in any way, shape, or form, they cannot. That's such a great thing to know. I feel like on my next protest, I'm gonna be like reciting that law.
Yep, Prince versus Massachusetts.
In fact, I feel like that should be recited in any of the protesting cases going on. Like, nope, I'm here to protest, and they can't cover up their crimes by having a quote religious organizations. That's illegal. That's a law.
It is. It's a law. Well, there's a lot of laws that get broken. So, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. So, that is so cool. This is like, again, guys, I had to print it out. And Mona, I want to show on your YouTube where people, is that okay? Can I pull that up on your post where people can go and click all the links and stuff?
Absolutely. Sure do.
Is okay. Or is there anything you want to finish going on before I jump into all that? Because that's interesting.
I want to touch on that other article only because it's so pertinent with everything going on.
Okay.
That second article was
the human trafficking.
No.
Nope. Forced labor.
It was the Rafferty article, the Kansas newspaper article.
Did you email
the Kansas Reflector? I think I did. Did I send you the wrong one?
I don't think so. Oh wait, let me see. 6 members of the
I am not going to read. I'm not going to read this whole thing because it goes through the same things. However, this one talks about the Kansas City officials helped the cult flourish despite the warnings of child abuse.
So, yeah, you did send me that. Hold on.
The city sold them a building for $1. The city looked the other way because they were making the community a better place. They had a viable downtown. They refurbished blighted buildings. Does that sound familiar?
Sounds like Clearwater.
Yeah. And you know what? They got themselves out of a thing because then they went ahead and confessed and took some plea deals. The city did. But they were going to get in trouble.
Oh, man. That's the link right there. I want to read that because it's actually super important. Wonder if it's in here. Field office.
So this is like totally LA and totally Clearwater.
Okay, hold. It absolutely is, and it's not only that's just out in the public. There's also the Gold Base does this. Like the Sea organization
Sure.
runs under all these illegal tactics. You're always like, well, how do they get such big buildings and all this stuff? And it's like, this is how. These are all the structural tactics that they use
Yep. So I'm
legally.
just going to
Everything.
do and this is a very important document, very important. But there's one quote out of there. She said,
I'm gonna try to find
the,
it while you're doing that. Sorry.
the government officials enabled UNOI because it allowed them to take the burden off of running the Quindaro area, which is a messed up area, an area of low socioeconomic status and high crime rates. The defendants called the area a dangerous part of town. So they went in and revamped this part of town, and they pretty much just enabled UNOI to keep doing this.
And it feels like not only does Clearwater do that physically with all the buildings and how they do run, and also Clearwater has a lower like age rate. They're the adult rate there legally is 16, right? Or something.
I don't know.
Something like that. So I just feel like that's even more of a place, I don't know, where a lot of people think it's okay to get away with child abuse and all that. But um there's this happening all like at the Blue Building. This is happening literally at any Sea Org Scientology hotel building, anywhere. They're all Sea Org members. Any Sea Org member, this is happening to.
So here's another parallel. One of the Jenkins, Royal Jenkins was one of the founders, daughters told the Pitch, this paper, in 2003 that at least 5 members had called the state's child abuse hotline, including her. She died in 2008, and the court documents showed that Jenkins announced to the members that he had his daughter killed. I mean, that's a little extreme,
Isn't
but
that
Lisa
Moxon?
McPherson,
Lisa
right?
McPherson, Moxon's daughter?
I know.
No, there's so many people. There's literally people where they say, oh, it was a suicide, and Scientology literally drove them to that point. They wanted them to do that. Whitney Mills.
Yep. So Erin LaRoe, the spokeswoman for DCF, said local law enforcement would have been aware of the allegations at the time. They knew of these abuse allegations, and yet they let UNOI continue in the city and have their way. So there you go, Clearwater. Put yourself in, it's just ridiculous how parallel this is. So let's go ahead and bring up those steps.
Okay, hold
I
on.
I really
Amy just said that I can open it in another. What is it? Right click. She said right click the link. But it's not right clickable, boo boo.
yeah, it's when it's your stream, it doesn't do it.
Are you
And
able to do it on yours or no?
um,
Can you? Yeah, you can pull up your comment, right? Or no? Only you can see it. Or if you send it to me in the private chat, I can copy and paste it and put it in. Boom shakalaka. That might be easy. Just because I want to be able to search with Google Lens. Is that no cancel?
no, it's not.
Okay,
No,
whatever.
we're good.
Sorry,
We're good.
Haggis.
We're good. We're
Haggis,
good.
if you want to email me that really quickly, I can pop it up because I got your other email. So, anyways, yeah, go ahead. We want to hear it. This is super important, but yeah.
So when Miriam Francis and I went through this and I saw it, and then they were sentenced, and I saw what we could possibly do with this, I called the FBI. That's like a big black hole. We all know that. I called the Kansas City office and said, this is us. This is the people of Scientology. How do we do this? And honestly, okay, I'm going to call myself politely tenacious. I was a pain in the ass. I think they finally answered me because I just wouldn't leave.
But
that's
also,
okay.
you go in with like an intent. You're like, I have something that you need to give me that before, you're here for something I didn't get, I like that.
Yep, yep. So they finally said, okay, here you go. Here are the steps. This is how this is going to work. And if you want a national claim, and if you want this to happen for your survivors, this is what they need to do. The, the chief of police told me, no victim, no crime. Sorry,
No victim, no
no
crime.
crime. If you
No
don't
victim,
report,
no crime. It's horrible.
that's a good
Sorry.
song. If you don't report, nobody knows. If you don't report, it didn't happen. Sorry to bring up some old L. Ron Hubbard shit, but
No, but it's true.
if you don't report it, nobody knows.
I'm going to share the screen now. Haggis sent me it. So
Okay.
I'm able, let's see if it'll do it. Boom. Okay, here. And then go Windows. Oh, I have to open it in a new thing. That's so annoying. Can you just go like that? Thank you. Okay, good. Boom. There we go. Share. Haha, I did it.
Dun, da, da, da.
Thank you, Haggis. You amazing angel babe. That's my favorite word
know.
for my people in my chat that I just love, and they're always there. I'm like, you are an angel babe in this moment. You are just a magical angel babe.
Haggis and Peter are working on this special project that is just going to blow your frickin' mind.
Oh, I'm so excited.
So anyways, here's the story from the Kansas Reflector.
Oops,
And the title, helped the cult flourish despite the warnings of child abuse. Cult water,
cold water.
you're going to be named there next.
Okay. So yeah, look at this. It literally looks like a Sea Org Scientology organization. Okay. United Nation of Islam ruled Quindar Boulevard for 2 decades. The group's leaders are about to go on trial. Is that part of
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
So this was before the trial, but it was truth. You know, the only reason all of the abuses happened was because the city let them. They let them flourish. They let them
And
go.
that's it. That seems to be one of the things that I mean, it is one of the ways that trafficking and all that is created and start, like, that's what molds them and keeps them together. Did you want to read all this or?
Not really.
Okay. But this is just an amazing article that literally shows another city and another group, organization, religion, whatever you want to call them, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
has major ties to Scientology. The Nation of Islam has major ties to Scientology.
They do.
And so this is happening in Kansas City.
It was
And
in Kansas City. Yep, they got closed down.
and that they had the city. What does Scientology do? They get the city in on everything. They make them officials. What do they do to protesters when they go to the East Hollywood? When they're called in the East Hollywood division, when protesters at Big Blue, Scientology's Blue Building, Hollywood, they literally call the East Hollywood Police Department, who are in on it. This is going to be, you're going to see a Los Angeles LAPD was in cahoots with Scientology attacking protesters, to, things like that, making sure that they were locked up and handled differently under, Scientology's whatever. And you're going to get the LAPD. It's going to be a city thing. The city is protecting. They protected permits. There's so much.
Yep. They let it because they were community aware. They were benevolent. Bullshit. They were abusers. And you looked the other way. That's what happened. So, yeah. So anyways, I called the Kansas City office and they gave me these steps. And they said, this is how it's not going to go into a black hole. This is how you need to do it. If you have reported in the past, please redo your report or make another report considering forced labor. Instead of just abuses, bringing in is forced labor. So the first step, review these cases, review these articles. Think for yourself.
I'm going to
Know, know
sorry.
that you were abused. You had crimes committed against you. Read these. See yourself in them. That's the first step. I'm going to let you catch up. There you
Sorry.
go.
Hold on. No. I'm moving this. Sorry. Exit. And I'm going here. Don't worry, it's worth it.
That's okay.
I want people to see. Okay, present. I want people to see your channel right here.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate that.
And right here is Mona's channel. She's got a bunch of fun things like Kendrick Moxon. She shared Audit LA's post about Kendrick Moxon.
That was a freaking incredible Substack.
Yeah, literally. I
did an
printed it
excellent
up.
job.
I printed up so I can marinate with it. Okay, so here is here you have, it's on here on Mona's page here on the YouTube. So anytime you can always go back to this post. It was posted 4 days ago.
It's also, I've been putting it down underneath my streams in the description of my streams because
Good.
it's important information. So I keep just re-spewing it out. So review the UNOI case. Second, was I a victim after the year 2000? And being over or under 18 doesn't matter. You can have been an adult. If you were a child, you get double points.
You get fucking triple points. How about that?
Yeah, if you were under 14, you get triple points. If you were under 18, you get the double points. If you you are protected under the TVPA, and that's the Traffic Victims Protection Act. That was enacted in 2000. In 2017, it had quite a few amendments, but in 2017, it was amended to say that all of these cases under the TVPA can be combined for RICO. So they can bring RICO charges with this.
Wow, that's important. I know I know DOA Defender
huge.
Advance is like, whoa. So
Yep.
yeah, well, yeah, not just everybody. We're all. This literally has I can't believe. I'm really, honestly, I was so glad to do this with you, and I was like, I hope other people jump on. But really, this is actually, people can get my view and you describing, and you've been promoting, like trying to get the word out on this. But this is so insane that this literally, it gives me hope because we've been going in and out of the courts and doing all this. We're learning about the Department of Justice, the DA's office, and all this stuff. And it's like, oh my God, this case just happened. We can literally take this and move forward with anybody's case in Scientology.
Yeah, you're not looking at 60s, 70s, or 80s material here. You're looking at,
and you're not thinking, oh, we're going to take. Yeah, sorry, I interrupted you.
And to be real honest, I've been a pain in the ass to you too, Lara, to get you to do this. Not that it wasn't important to you, but okay,
it needs to be.
I get a lot of emails too, and Peter Anderson knows me better than anybody. He'll email me something, and he'll say, this is important, and he'll email it, and I'll go, oh, I look at it, and I read it, and I don't understand, or I didn't read it with the relevance that it should have. And then like 2 days later, Peter will email and go, did you read what I sent you? He's polite. He's politely tenacious with me. And so I know how important this is. I feel how important this is. So I'm going to be a dog on a bone about this with everybody. No victim, no crime, Peter. You're right. If you want to see justice, if you want to see change, we need to do this. If you don't, sit back and watch others, or if nobody does it, it's not going to happen.
No,
They're
and this is
not
so
going to come
important.
knocking down your door.
There's no reason there's no reason. That's not true. There's You can take your time. I'm in the middle of doing mine. And Mona's here. Mona can be here to help or not. If you don't want to help, you can call me. If you're a friend of mine, let me move this. Did you want to go over these things? The different
Yeah, let me finish going over them real quick, and
Okay.
then we're gonna.
Let me just finish saying, if
Okay.
you know somebody that has left the Sea Org, like Dylan, Blow Drill, Surge, anybody that's left the Sea Org in Clearwater, in LA, in Chicago, if you know somebody that has left the Sea Org, they would absolutely, that's in the protesting anti-Scientology, SPTV, Aftermath Foundation community, all of that, anybody, I guarantee you, will be absolutely willing to help anybody slowly go through these steps. And you don't have to finish it all at once. You can take your time. You can start a case. You can get your case file number going, and you can add to it. Sorry, am I jumping the ball or
Not
no?
at all.
Okay.
No,
I
that's
just,
fine.
the exciting things is that you don't have to feel like, get this done now, the lawyer's waiting. It's not like that. It's
No.
here's once a chance to give yourself as a child the case number and the abuse number of the person in the situation that should have been taken care of. It should have been nurtured. It should have been held. It should have been cured. It should have been not happening. So this is the solution, where whether somebody in the FBI, which is not the case, you can clearly see that we just showed you an example of a case that just got won. But with people in the FBI, even if they don't do something about it, these reports are being filed. They're on the record now. And this is against a law that was made in 2000.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Super important. Okay, let's go. I'll bring these back up.
Okay.
So
Go back to the steps.
Here. Oh, back to your steps. Boom.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then,
Okay, so the first one, what is the claim? Did you want to jump?
Review the claim, get yourself prepped up, get yourself psyched out. Where'd you go? Go back to the steps.
Sorry. Going here.
2, if you were in Sea Org or a slave labor after 2000, I'm just going to say it's slave labor because forced labor is just stupid. So you can file 3 different ways. You can make an appointment, because they don't usually just do walk-ins anymore. You have to make an appointment at a field office, and there's a link for all the field offices on there. You can make this claim online. There's an online version where you go in and you file a report online.
Those are all the field offices, literally, and all the. This is amazing. You are so organized, Mona. I just love you, and thank you so much for doing this.
Oh no, I'm not really at all, but thank you very much for saying it. I fake it.
Well, you're making it. Just kidding.
So
okay, so those are the field
or you
offices.
can file online,
right here,
or you can call.
I just want to show even on the here that you can. These are the links. They're very valid. You can click them and you can call, and there are people who will literally know if somebody's calling in making a report like this or anything. They know exactly where to send it. And I believe, Mona, you even put in there here, make an appointment, National Human Trafficking Hotline, toll free at 1-888-373-7888.
Now the hotline is
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yes, it is. Now, to be real honest, if you do it on the weekend, somebody's probably going to get back to you on Monday or whatever. I don't really know, but I don't think it's just there's 3 different ways. You can call, you can get on the website if you don't want to go there, or you can print out copies of that. Be ready to email copies of that. Make sure and reference the UNOI claim. Because let's face it, the FBI field offices and FBI National are probably like any federal offices. They're going to go, oh, yeah, okay, you were abused by a cult. But if you hand them, this happened to me. This paper right here, email it to them, walk in with it, whatever you're going to do, read it to them. This happened to me. It was just Scientology instead of UNOI. But correlate it. Make sure they understand that. Because FBI may be big, bulky dudes, but sometimes they're not too brilliant. Okay? So be prepared with some W's. Who, what, where, and when. They don't have to be exact, and you have to have everything 100%, but have enough to where they can open their claim, right?
Yeah,
So,
I love that you put that there. Like, you're very clear. Tell them you want to report a crime. Give them a copy of this article and all that. Tell them it's the same, but instead Scientology or whatever. Yeah, I mean, this can really be used for anybody. This is obviously, this is LFM TV, and we are here to report and get rid of Scientology and their abuses. So, but this is really important. This is like, it seems hard, but it's not that hard. And if it feels hard, you have people here that are very open and willing to help, including myself. I would totally help anybody write this. I would help
yeah,
anybody, whatever.
I would be more than happy to help
Audit
somebody,
LA
you know.
also said she's so good with that stuff, and she's absolutely, if it's too hard for anybody to write or type, you can hit her up on LA. She will literally give you a time that's good for her, and she'll just totally absolutely help you. I might actually use her, help help
Yeah,
me.
I really suck at writing. If you want me, and I'm really horrible. I'm not mechanically inclined whatsoever. I'm way better off fixing my wheelchair by talking it into fixing itself than ever touching it. But so
And then
I'm more
you
than
said
happy to
here
hold your hand, though.
yes, I love that. And that's why I said that at the very beginning of the stream. I kept saying, Mona, I want everybody to feel comfortable, because even if you have an issue with Mona, you are able to express it and feel how the fuck you feel, and she can hear it and understand it. Even if she's absolutely 1,000% right, somehow she's able to communicate with you in a way where you don't feel bad about what you said, and you're able to heal it instead of being attacked for saying it.
Yeah, because
That's what I
it's
was
not a in my other presentation that I had given, my last point of it was, this is a you thing, not a we thing. It really isn't. I can't report for you. I can't go in and say, this happened to Lara and you need to make a claim and you need to open up a claim, because I'm not the one that it happened to. Lara
yeah.
is the one that happened to. Dylan is the one that it happened to. Serge is the one that it happened to. You have to be a voice for yourself in this matter. I'll go and hold your hand all day long.
Thank you.
I promise I will, if that's what needs to happen. But I can't do it for you. And the police officer, the FBI, the chief of police, the LAPD commission is not going to hear a sad story and go break down a door. That's not going to happen. You have to report.
It's true. We definitely, but also going to the police commission meetings and showing up and doing whatever, calling in for everybody who's doing that. You literally encourage everybody. You encourage me to go. I freak out every time, mentally, physically, PTSD wise, when I go to authority meetings and buildings talking about Scientology. It's so weird. If I went there for any other reason, I wouldn't care. But because I'm going in there to protect my younger self, it becomes very whatever, traumatic. And all of a sudden I'm like, why is my body shaking? And I can't stop, but I feel fine. It's so fucking weird. So
Yeah,
again, there's people like Mona, people like Audit LA, people like myself, who are absolutely will give you the time and the understanding. I have really good friends that I know. I love you so much. I know you're watching this stream because I'm probably going to make you watch it later. I want you to know I will be here with you every step of the way, and you don't have to get it done right away. You don't even just get it going. Let them know, here, this is the chunk of it. I'm going to break down the details and everything when I can, and I'll send, and you have your case number, and you can literally just add it to your report.
mm-hmm.
I
And
really love that, Mona. You have
the
no idea.
UNOI case, the federal case went through with about a little over 12 people. And one person, okay, I'm going to tell you, I know Miriam Francis has filed, because she's said it many times. And one person, one claim is going to get swept under the rug, is going to get lost in the pile of paperwork. And it's going to, even if it does get to an investigation, Scientology is going to say, "Oh, we don't do that. That was just one person.
Or
That
send them to
doesn't
arbitration,
happen."
right?
Oh,
Or send them
no,
to
no, not for the
arbitration.
criminal.
Oh,
No,
that's
not
true.
for criminal.
That's
But
true.
they're going to go, "Oh, that was just Miriam.
Oh my
Just that
God.
one." But if you have 12 or more, or if you have even 3 or more, there goes their theory. It's not a one-off anymore.
No, I'm literally going to be, again, guys, I'm here for anybody who wants to do this. If you want to help me do it, if you want to do it together, totally down. I feel like that's honestly, it is hard, Mona, to just go here. I should pull this down. I guess we get the steps. Do we get the steps? I was
We
just
got the
also going to
steps.
say, be prepared with the W's that kind of triggered Scientology kid in me. Like, you, who, when, where, what, time, place, form, and event.
I'm sorry.
But be prepared with who was the name. Like, for example, who was the person? Let's just say, wow, I'm gonna call. There's no reason I shouldn't. So let's just Kenny Campbellman, security guard at the Int Ranch for me.
Mhm.
And for me, remember, guys, I want people to know this too. This is the downfall, sort of, for this. This justice only happened a couple months ago, 2024. So I guess the law was created in 2000. And then what, 20, right? Mona, is that crazy? 24 years later, they finally get
Yeah,
justice. So, but
yeah.
anyways, the law was made in 2000. So, for example, there might be a situation where I can't report to the FBI all of my childhood stuff that happened at the Int Ranch because the law was made in 2000. But I can still tell them about my childhood at the Int Ranch, break down
Mhm.
whatever I can in detail so they get the concept of the idea of the whole trafficking and how they formed and groomed children and kids out of
Right.
all sorts of countries, and they get the whole report. Then I can tell my report, okay, and for me, most of you watching, my timeline. I left the Int Ranch, the cadets, the slave child camp school, whatever you want to call it, of Scientology in Hemet right here to go to Clearwater in 2000. We were all shipped off. And like you said, Mona, and here you mentioned so many, sorry, I thought I moved the screen, but so many points about people that we were set. Every person from the cadet org, for example, from the Ant Ranch was sent to an organization
Mhm.
to work, and they were lied to, and they were told, you're going to have, you're going to be on purpose, you're going to get paid, you're going to have everything's going to be great. And then when we got there, even when we went to the Int Ranch, that was the case. It just seems like Scientology has this bullshit lie that they have, that they make reasonable for all of the organization and the group, that, oh, again, first of all, authority outside doesn't matter. That's the first one. Like, you better just listen to us, don't talk to anybody else. But I'm gonna lose my train of thought here because I keep
Mhm.
staring at the prepare the W's. Who, what, where, why. The
Take
thing,
it off. Take it
okay,
off.
okay. But the thing, I want it there because it's keeping me aligned with my whole
Oh,
thing. I don't want people to feel feared. I don't want you, basically, it's literally hoping that, how do I say this? You don't have to show up and feel that you're being interrogated. What's the time? What's the place? What's the event? Especially since you already have what Mona has put together, and everybody in the back end, so many people. There's so many people helping Mona. So this is amazing.
you're right.
But there's so many people. I'm just saying, in the back, there's so much going on that here we have a place that we can literally go, okay, this will get, again, reported to the authorities, to whatever authorities, and no matter what, it's on the record. And then also there's this whole idea of being able to show where somebody came out of to the FBI to show them, this is the picture of how this started. This is what Scientology allows as the norm
Mhm.
before you join the EPF, which is the basically boot camp group when you join the Sea Org. These are the things they demand of you. And a lot of the things you're saying, Mona, that you're reading that are legally laws that say this is abusive if this is happening. Those things that we were all sent to Clearwater, to pack back the Blue Building, AOLA, all from the Enrich. Every kid was literally monitored and like scripted. Where are you going? Where's this person going? Are they going to be okay? Are they going to cause a flap? You know, so they were all put in certain with this idealistic, you know, fantasy. It was a fantasy because when we got there, it was like, oh, you're going to be doing the work to clean this. You're going to be doing the job. And if it's not good enough, it's your fault.
Yeah,
That
there's
was
there's two types of human trafficking, sexual and labor. And a lot of you had sexual trafficking also, but almost every single one of you had the crime of human trafficking, labor, human trafficking.
Yes.
And I'm
I would vouch
sorry,
for that.
I'm sorry that that happened. I truly am. It breaks my heart, but it's just the
Mona, you're
facts.
amazing.
It's
You're
the
literally
facts.
the one healing us, helping us to heal, and you're telling us sorry, which is so sweet because you're literally like trying to remind us that that wasn't okay. That should have never happened. And it is a
Mm-mm.
crime. And we're not even getting into other illegal tactics and things that have happened. There's so many things, but this was just the basic reasoning and the basic concept or the behavior of a Sea Org Scientologist. The norm of it is all illegal.
It
The
is.
way they treat the elderly, how much they're being paid, what food they eat, what uniform they wear, what if they get in trouble for not having an appearance that's supposed to represent Scientology.
Mhm.
If they get in trouble, they literally are being told you will be freaking excommunicated, declared a suppressive person if you report these crimes to authority, to the
Mhm.
FBI. So it's always been so scary, but this does go straight to the point. This goes straight to the Federal
It
Bureau of Investigation.
it does. And an
And if
important
we can even
piece of
get
this,
20 or 30, sorry, I
yeah,
never mean to cut people off, but I'm always so barely
that's
keeping
okay.
on in my train of thought that it's like, I just have to say it so it gets out. Even
That's all right.
if they within the next month, let's just say, because it's not just an easy thing for people to write up their stories and be like, okay, good, yep, that's it. It's like so much and it's draining and it's horrific and I'm sorry for everybody. But if they're gonna, even if they get 50, even if they get 10, even if they got 15 reports where they're literally like, oh wow, this case just happened, it makes sense why all these kids now are reporting their stories to the FBI. This
Yeah.
case just
It,
happened, and Kansas City was a part of it. The
right.
city had something to do with it allowing to happen. So again, if the FBI doesn't do something about this, which I rarely, with Mona's ass fucking on them all the time, hi, what's going on? But if they don't, we're able to say we have something on the record now. We have actually a record report. We have case numbers. Who is not doing anything about it?
Right. Right. And why do we bring this through with the labor, the forced labor? Because the other abuses are way more egregious and way more horrific. I agree with that. But the TVPA law is the one with the furthest back statute of limitations. So this is
Yeah.
that's important because if you were to bring it on as a child abuse claim, most statute of limitations, I think for federal are, I think 7 years at the most. So you would have had to have been abused or after 2017. That doesn't cut it for most of you guys. And this goes all the
Well,
way
and
back.
the ones that it would apply for are still in the
It's
Sea
still
Org,
in,
and they're
right?
older now, so they're definitely not going to get out and tell their stories.
Yeah. So
Right.
that all doesn't make sense. So if it goes back to the year 2000, this encompasses more of you and more abuses that can be documented. And
Correct.
then two,
Sunrise Joy just said increased reporting can help identify criminal patterns, activities that otherwise go unnoticed. That is so 100% true. And that's
yep,
literally what Scientology, David Miscavige, and the Sea Organization, and Kendrick Moxon, and Jennifer, they're all doing in their little habits. they're just they're trying to make everything just seem not normal, and that is how sex traffickers and everybody get away with this kind of shit.
Yeah. And Kathy says, and now there's a law firm that will take it on for the civil claims. Absolutely, you bet, you got it. But this is a criminal charge. You
Right.
don't need a lawyer. No
Nope.
lawyers needed. The
prosecutor, the FBI will have somebody who literally, just like the
prosecutor.
DA's office, exactly. This
Yep.
is what's so important. This is why I was like, this is so important. It's gonna be hard and uncomfortable and annoying, but it's so important. If you guys just go to Mona's and check out the links, you can always email if they happen to not be there. If you're not on YouTube and you can't even get to it, email. Ooh, I'm gonna totally use my little bar buttons right now. Email me directly. Email me directly. And I will help you. And I can get you in touch with Mona. Whatever you guys need, whatever anybody needs dealing with this, email me directly, call the SPTV hotline, leave a message. I'll get back to you within a couple hours, hopefully. No, I definitely will. Yeah. So I just think this is really important, and it helps my story. It helps me get justice if other kids and other people tell their stories. If they're also filing, not only are they helping me, but I'm helping them. We're all helping each other to do this. This isn't personal. If you don't like me, guess what? Continue to not like me. This has nothing to do with that. This literally, if you want justice for your young child self, for your family, for people that you're friends with, that you were friends with for so long, if you want to report other people's other things that you saw, that you witnessed, that other people can't talk about, that is you everybody, again, also is a mandated reporter, right? Are we not all? So that also is another angle. And again, you can reference the case that Mona brought up, the Kansas case, everything. You can bring this up saying, I'm reporting these crimes that I observed. That will be and if we could even have other people do that they are reporting crimes of other people, they're going to see that it's more than just 20 people reporting it. It actually is tied to thousands of people.
Oh, wave thousands. Now, the other part of that is not just justice, but change. Do you want to see change?
Yeah.
A big
Here,
change that can happen because of this could be legislative, federal, and state changes, changing statute of limitations for survivors of cults.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of you don't even know you were abused until 20 years later, 15 years later. That the statute of limitations has to be changed for certain survivors. And that's a change that could happen.
And
But
I do, exactly,
nothing's
I do believe.
no victim, no crime. And if you honestly go through legislation, Congress, congressional records, law enforcement records, Scientology has a clean record. You're going to say, what? Yes, they do. They've paid off every single civil claim except for Willersheim since they got their 501c3 status back, and they haven't had any criminal crimes except for like Narconon, but that's still, that's not Church of Scientology.
Right.
On record, they're clean.
That is insane.
So if you go to Congress and yell, scream, if you're protesting, yelling and screaming, saying they abuse children, not on record.
Yep.
We've got to get it on record.
That's the thing. Nobody's ever dared to take Scientology legally because they were always threatened by their quote power. But now we're changing that. And I feel like a lot of people understand that. I feel like politically, and even in certain groups, and even in people's own religions, they don't like that behavior. I don't think anybody's okay with this behavior, especially if they're very involved with their religion. They don't want that shit. They don't want that. That's not love. That's not God. That's not,
No.
So I feel like this, yeah.
Back to what we had started with, is that people with their head in the sand, nowadays there's been so much information and so much education about what really is truly happening that you can't stick your head in the sand anymore. And now it's time. It's time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Strike
And
it while
again,
it's hot.
exactly. Strike it while it's hot. And if you guys need help, again, there's so many people. I'm sure it feels like, I'm pretty sure the people who have been through this shit can do it. And it's just good to know that now you can go back on this LFM TV episode and just review. Okay, that's where I can get that. These are the links for this. You can always come back and get your questions answered here. And if you need any extra help with anything, you can let us know. I'm here. I'm getting helped doing this. I'm working on it slowly. There is no demand to hurry it up or any of that.
No.
It's you're there to finally make the report for the child that never got to make that report.
It's for your justice, whatever your justice looks like.
Yeah.
Whatever your justice looks like.
Yes, I agree. Okay, Mona, that was so amazing. Can we run through some quick little things before we say bye?
Absolutely.
Okay, and if anybody has questions, ask your questions now.
Can I say something real quick? Because I've had a couple of people already DM me about. My name is Fat Grammy because when I was a little girl, I was like 5, 6 years old. Somebody said, "What do you want to do when you want to grow up?" And I said, I either want to be an international corporate lawyer or a Fat Grammy, because my Fat Grammy was like the bomb. She was the best. She made bread, she made homemade food, and gave the best hugs and snuggles.
Oh.
And hey, I became one.
I became one. That's so
I
cute.
am a Fat Grammy.
Yeah,
so.
I love that. I love that. And you're so you literally vibrate that. And I've definitely and everybody, you're allowed to have your doubts in people and feel insecure and not safe. And that's fine. I feel like when people allow you to do that and they come back with an empty vessel as themselves, that's the best thing. Like, it's okay. Yeah. Allow people to be upset and get through whatever they're going through. I feel like to demand and hurry up and do this and, well, you should do this now. No. Go fuck yourself. Do your own shit. Work on yourself. We're all working on ourselves. And most of all, make sure you file your FBI report.
Okay, let's go through some questions.
Okay. Thank you, Jane, Angel Babes. Thank you for your new membership. Auntie M, sending love always. You literally are the Auntie M of, she's one of the major aunties of this movement. Thank you, S. Yes, my favorite. That's cute. X, we miss you. When are you going to be here in Los Angeles? Hit a girl up. Thank you. This is really happening. Gifted 10 Lara FM memberships. Thank you, guys. This feels very loving. And also, thank you, Wilderman 20132, right? Is it 13-2? Yeah. You are so special to go through all you did and still come out with such a beautiful heart and so caring. We love you, Lara. Thank you, Wilderman. Pretty sure that was Wilderman who did that. Does it matter to you? Not to me. Thanks for the back and forth. Oh, I thought I said back and forth. Thank you. Thanks for the back end work. We know that's for you, Mona. Well, and for me, but I think
thank you. Doesn't matter. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing, Fat Grammy. Question. K. John Juju says, can family members of deceased victims report?
I don't know.
That's a good question. Maybe Mona will find that out and let us know. And I don't find it again, as the mandated reporter reporting to an FBI, I think if you see something, say something, that kind of approach, I feel like it wouldn't be like you're not going to get in trouble for reporting something that you just want to have on the record. And you say, I just want this documented that I reported this.
Yeah,
but that's very
I'll
interesting.
find out, Juju.
So good. Okay. Deb Robinson, thank you. 5 months. You've been in my heart longer than that, Deb. Lara, love you, Lara. I love you, honey bunny buns. And Pink Panther, thank you so much for your help. Panther, everybody give Panther the freaking goldenrod win statue for setting up DOA's fundraising and getting that all squared away and awesome. You're so freaking awesome. And thank you for everybody that donated to help Scott and his legal funds. I'm gonna hopefully do whatever I can to make sure, like, this is so important, but like, it doesn't matter feelings, emotions, like there's work to be done. There's legal stuff to be taken care of, that if we don't do this now, we're going to make it harder and harder. So it's like, if we do this, it becomes easier and easier. And so we're learning so much as we go in and out of court and all that. So yeah, thank you guys always for being supportive and loving, no matter what the F is going on. You know, those are the most important people in the community, period, are the ones that stick around through it all and just try to stay aligned with being loving and learning and loving. All right.
With me.
You. Okay. Well, I think that was it. Any other questions? Going once, going twice, guys. Again, you can always email us, email me for whatever. Mona's here. Thank you again, Mona, so much. We'll see you soon, and we'll be able to talk about this more for sure. Anything new that comes up as well. I love it.
Most definitely. I thank you so much. Thanks, Lara.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, chat.
Bye, guys.
Love you. Learning
Bye.
and loving with you. Okay, bye.